Okay, just a quick little video on something I found useful. I have a Virpil throttle, and it has a dial up on top of the grip that I really haven't found a use for yet. I have other pots, and so really decided to use this as a switch. And I'll show you how to do that, but first let me show you what I'm using it for. In this is the F-18, on the bottom display there, you have a heading and a course switch. And so, of course, you could map switches to those, but a dial is pretty handy. It's a little more intuitive, the left and right, which corresponds to the compass rose. And so I'm just going to dial it right now. I have the course set, and so you don't really see any function. I'm going to depress that same rotary. Well, it's not a rotary. It's actually a pot. And so, but I'm kind of using it as a rotary encoder. And so now I've switched to the heading. And you'll see the heading indicator turn on the compass rose there. And anything off center is like pressing the switch. And it already has an incremental function built into it. If you just hold it a little bit, it moves slow. And so if you want to make small adjustments, just off center and back to the center. The dial has a very easy to fill center detent, which makes that really simple. And then if I want to switch to the course, I just depress it and release. I don't have to hold it. And that changes my course setting. That's pretty handy for that, especially if you're using the autopilot and you have the heading select and you just want to make small adjustments. You can just dial it in. And I could use voice attack to tell me which one is selected. It's going to be the heading by default, and which I'm going to change more often. And so I may not even use the course. I'll just use that whenever I'm setting up a TACAN approach or something, or an ILS approach. And so let's just take a quick look at how to do that with Joystick Gremlin and VJoy. So here we have my throttle, and that is the dial. And if you don't know what the dial is, you can pull that up with your USB game controller. You can choose your throttle, go to Properties, and turn it, and you'll see that it's a dial. And so then what I do is I simply add a remap, and it's going to be to the VJoy device 1. I could have multiple VJoy devices, but I don't need to. And I've set it for button 27. And so if it's going to be active whenever I turn one way, off center, and stay active and all the way to the edge. And then this one is going to be in the negative. And so you can see that that's what, let me pull that, and I'll show you how that works in here again. And we'll look at VJoy. And so you can see I'm dialing it now, and you can see whenever I turn it clockwise, it activates button 27, counterclockwise, off the center, button 28. And so then I've also have it set to provide within here. This is the course set, and so you can see, well, you can't see, you'll just have to take my word for it and look at this. This is the modifier button. I added it as a switch, which means I don't have to hold it. It just toggles. And so there you have it. That's how to get some use out of a pot that may be just sitting there doing nothing, as mine was.